All right, welcome everyone to our Black Lives Matter fundraiser here at Flowshala. I'm the owner, Summer Huntington, and this is Xander, also known as DJ Samadhi, and he's going to be playing some amazing tunes. He'll be sharing the playlist with everyone that registered as well. It's a beautiful playlist. I've been listening to it all afternoon. And definitely just super good vibes. It's very worldly and housey, and it'll just be something to kind of flow with after this is over too.
DJ Samadhi Flow.
DJ Samadhi Flow, pretty sweet. So I wanted to share a little bit about why we created this event. So it's our 2-year anniversary here at Flowshala. We've been open since May 2 years ago, 2018. And now it's 2020. So we had an event for, Xander and I were actually going to be doing like a deep house yoga event, and we felt called during some recent events we felt called to hold an event that would bring more awareness to the Black Lives Matter movement. And that seemed to be one of the best and leading organizations to support the movement. And so we have some plans in place for the Flowshala team to continue to educate our staff and create dialogue within our community about how we can change our systems and include more diversity within our organization as well. So I wanted to share or give it over to Xander to kind of talk about what we're going to be doing moving forward from here on out for the rest of the year and into the rest of Flowshala being a business in the community.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth between looking at you and looking at Summer because this is where the mic is. Yep. And if you're on the gallery view, I've got Zoom open from 2 locations. So if you're looking at that, I hope you're enjoying my 18-year-old face. Yeah, that's good stuff. Anyway, thanks everyone for sharing. Thanks everyone for being here. What we're going through collectively is heartbreaking and disruptive, and we are seeing a lot of unrest in our country. And we've all been affected by it. We've all been affected by it, and we're all seeing and understanding that something needs to change. And so I want to start by just acknowledging my privilege and how that shows up for me in my life. I don't have the Black experience. I am a male, and I grew up middle class, and I am college educated and able-bodied. And while I have brown skin and I face discrimination, and I have my story about that, I still am a privileged person, and that shows up for me and allows me to move through this world and benefit from the systems that we have in place that people are mobilizing now to call out and dismantle. So, and what that looks like is right now happening via peaceful protest. And it goes beyond the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement is nothing new. It emerged in the 2010s when social media footage of police violence and police brutality directed towards Black bodies, Black Americans, started to surface on social media. And there was a collective outcry and kind of this societal realization that we don't live in a post-racial society, and that, I mean,
you can tell that.
Yeah,
I'll stand close to you.
Cool. I mean, you know, it began with slavery, and then it turned into Jim Crow. And then after the civil rights movement, it went from overt to covert with practices like redlining and, you know, just predatory lending practices and segregated cities. In fact, cities now in the North are more segregated than cities in the South. So systems of oppression and societal racism has just shifted to be invisible, and racism is fundamental to who we are. And it's the boogeyman in our society that affects us all. It lives within all of us, whether we like that or not, whether we want to acknowledge that or not, it's there. We all have our biases, and it's largely unconscious, and it doesn't make you a bad person to have racist conditioning. But when we don't ignore that, we allow violence to perpetuate, and we allow oppression to perpetuate. And everything that's perpetuating right now, and the invisibility of it and the covertness of it, is largely responsible for a lot of the reaction that we're seeing to the protests and the demonstration. And something that really resonated with me that I heard earlier this week was that this isn't a riot. It is a rebellion. And that is how we are supposed to behave as American. What you're seeing right now is fundamental to who we are. And it's what our nation is founded on. Yeah. We all have, we all have careers, and we all take breaks. People died for your right to take a break by rising up and fighting for liberation. And that's what's happening right now. And that's what we're seeing right now. They're not rioting. They're standing up against their people being killed. And it comes down to power and bad policy. It doesn't come down to us versus them. There's corruption and agents of corruption that need to be held accountable and that aren't being held accountable. And that's the change that's being asked for by Black Lives Matter and the other activists on the ground. And this isn't a time to not be controversial. It's a time to listen. It's a time to invite in humility. And it's a time to stand up for your fellow Americans and stand with them in solidarity for what they're asking for. Because for a long, long time in our nation, Black lives haven't mattered. And that ideology lives within all of us to some degree. So I invite you all to take a step back, open your hearts, open your minds, listen. Listen to the voices who are sharing their pain, who are sharing their suffering, and that are out there in the streets demanding liberation. And that's why we're here today, to connect to the highest self, which ultimately will allow us to connect to the truth. Thanks for being here with us, everyone.
Thanks, Xander.
Oh, one more thing.
One more thing.
One more thing. The positionality I'm taking tonight is to honor the art of Black people in our country. My set that I've selected tonight, which I'm going to be DJing from my laptop, is largely house music, which was born in the gay Black underground in Chicago. And house music is the music of protest. House music is their language demanding liberation. And we owe the culture, the dance music culture that we see today, to the oppressed, to the marginalized, to those who suffer the most in their position in America. And without the Black people and their resilience that has been, that they've lived through in our country, we wouldn't be able to have the music that I'm playing for you tonight. And so I want to honor Black liberation tonight through the music that we're going to share with you tonight.
Thank you, Xander. All right. Whew. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of your heartfelt words, and it seemed like it just flowed right out of you. And I really appreciate your place on the team with helping to empower our team and our community as well.
Thanks, Summer.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and mute our mics, and we're going to get right into some yoga. And I chose the theme, hopefully the mic's okay for everyone. I chose the theme of heart opening because there's a lot of tension that we might be kind of holding in our chest and our shoulders. And I really want to help you guys to kind of unwind from that. So just give me 1 second and I will make sure that my other phone is muted. Oh, we both have our Zooms on. Leave this meeting. All right. Leaving. Cool. Okay, so now my Zoom is off. We should be good to go. All right, go ahead and come to a seated position at the top of your mat, sitting cross-legged, and let's make sure everyone is on mute. I think, yes, so there's no background noise. Elise, you're gonna wanna mute yours, Elise?
I'm pretty sure it is. No?
No, I'll mute you. Cool, you're good to go now. Okay, so come to the seated cross-legged position, and I just want to share one more just brief description for Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is an international human rights movement originating in the African American community that campaigns against violence and systemic racism towards Black people. BLM regularly holds protests speaking out against police killings of Black people and broader issues such as racial profiling, police brutality, and racial inequity in the United States criminal justice system. So we are really excited to be able to stand and be able to support this community. And we've got a big rally, as you guys know, happening in Bellingham tomorrow. So I encourage, if you guys are going to be protesting, that you're safe and prepared, and that we practice peaceful protesting. Go ahead and start seated, cross-legged, ready to go. I might turn the music up just a hair. Trauma that might be residing. Go ahead and take your hands to your knees. Draw your chest forward, let your shoulders drop back, big inhale. On your exhale, round your spine, press your palms forward as you like. Think of peeling any stagnant energy away from the heart. You guys all super good. Exhale, shoot down. Three more, just like that. As we focus on the heart energetic center, if you find yourself wanting to do any little wiggles or stretches, go with the music. Left hand down. Corkscrew your bottom arm into the straight. And exhale, heart to inhale longer. Inhale. I'd like to add a little shoulder movement here. Inhale, stretch your arm. Exhale, think of doing like a shoulder side hop or kind of like starting. Open and exhale. And shield back. Center, switch sides, corkscrew your right hand to the floor, reach through the fingertips, inhale, heart towards the sky, and exhale, heart towards the sky. Exhale, shield cast. Okay, well, notice the symbolism, inhale, in your body as you take on different gestures of this practice. It's got a lot of shoulder opening, a lot of binding. Position of half position over the ear, the face. Start to move the spine in a circular pattern. Feel free to close your eyes during this. Aim for about 5 to 10 circles in one direction. Notice how your spine moves. the floor, tuck and round your back, coming into cat pose. And inhale, shine the heart towards the collarbone. Exhale, tuck and round the back. Inhale, shine forward. Wiggle the hips in and out. Sacrifice your mind. House for you guys. Tight, nice and loud. Do a mellow house over here. The flow shot. Alright, come back to center. Wiggle the hips to the right. Look right. Wiggle the hips to the left. Look left. Right. Tap your shoulders and left. Couple more on each side. So rhythmic yoga is all about taking static postures, finding the postures, how to undulate the posture, make it a dance. Last one on each side. Back to center. Child's pose, hips to heels, arms extended. Inhale, lift and gear your body. Lift it this way. Feel your hollow body position as you push back. Allowing the weight to travel over the right arm, traveling over the left arm. Take a couple more counterclockwise. Feel the weight of the palms. Warming up, priming the shoulders for practice today. Stay connected with your breath for some moments. Stay focused with your Ujjayi breath, which is a breath in and out through the nose, making a pause on the back of the throat. You can feel your nervous system starting to come back into control, releasing that stress as well. Take child's pose, hips to heels. Power. Let your legs up between your two hands. Join the hands in prayer. Find a little pulse here, so feel the beat of the music. Your hips. So small little micro bend. Inhale, glide forward, heart open. Exhale, shooting around, hollow body. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, shooting down. Inhale. Exhale, create a bind, stretch your shoulders apart. Last two, inhale. Keep your eyes on your target this time, so the tip of your fingertips. Then bend the front knee, reach up and out of the waist. Take a lateral bend to your right. Back to center. Inhale, stretch up, reach up. Exhale. Exhale, you can stick with just lateral bend or maybe taking a fold or a circle all the way around. Inhale. Exhale, massaging the spine, holding any dense fascia around the heart and the thoracic spine. Inhale, stretch up. On your exhale, hinge forward, plant the palms on the inside of the foot, step back, child pose, ready. Inhale, lift, step your left foot between your two hands, join the hands at prayer. Find your pulse. Back your shoulders. Think of this hand mudra as like a sphere of tension right in front of the heart. Color associated with the heart energetic center is being like a circle. Inhale, feel the heart open, extend your fingertips. Like you can imagine that emerald color of light with a nice rose quartz center. 3 more. Inhale. Tapping your foot, you're going deeper into those hip stretches. Just express yourself through the movement. This is your practice, this is your time to play. There might even be a moment in the practice where we go into a full-on dance party. And that's okay too. No, I say might. Inhale. Exhale, hands forward, plant the palms on the inside of the feet. Step back, child pose. And curl the toes under, come into downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out right and left. Rotate the head side to side. Relax your jaw. Think of this as like a dancing down dog. And come into your regular down dog and hold. Bend your knees a lot here. Press your shoulders back behind your wrists. Inhale, lift your heels high. Exhale, bend your knees, walk them or float the feet beneath the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, circle, sweep, arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Hands by your side, mountain pose. Keep your feet about hip distance apart and just feel your posture. When you're in this wide-legged stance, think about ripping the ground apart, owning your stance, standing nice and tall. Take your arms out to a T, shoulders scoop. Inhale, come up, and exhale, shoulders scoop. Option to add a diagonal squat. Think about frying your shoulders. Your shoulders allow you to hold the weight of the world. Keep your elbows nice and straight. Think about leading from your shoulder blade, just strengthening and bringing awareness to that area. So important for lifting, for carrying you. Back to center, arms down, roll the shoulders, up, down, back. All right, I got a fun one for you guys. Take your left hand forward like you're holding a teacup. If you have a water bottle or a teacup, feel free to put it on there. Take your hand underneath your armpit, and then take a lateral bend as if you're trying not to dump that water out. We call these shoulder teacups. You can do these in place, or you can add a little pivot step. You're good for just loosening up the shoulders. Think about kind of getting low, and think about reversing the direction. So our bodies find spirals extremely soothing. There's no start and no stop. You can go in a forward spiral, so like DNA or like a helix pattern or infinity sign. Last one with that arm. Come back to the center, switch sides. Start with the basics. Like learn the fundamentals of the teacup. It goes under the arm, the body lateral bends. We're taking up space, right? We're using our arms, our limbs to take up more oxygen, more air. Option to find a little pivot. Start maybe one direction feels easier. Acknowledge that. Don't have any expectations for the two sides to be even. But it's the gesture too. It's like you're kind of like handing or sharing something like in a tray, and then you're sweeping it and vortexing it up. You can try both hands if you like. 2 teacups. Breathing, swirling the energy right outside your physical body. Think about reaching, extending back. If you're doing back bends in your pocket, this is a great way to open your shoulders. Up to the top of your mat. To mountain pose. Keep the feet together. Inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold over bent legs. Let the head hang heavy here. Inhale, half plank. Exhale, fold. Step back to a high plank. Shift your shoulders forward. Lift your hips and lower your knees, chest, and chin. So keep a big gap underneath your belly, your thighs. Good. From here, snake forward one vertebra at a time. So pubic bone, lower back, mid back, upper back. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Curl the toes under, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale. Feel free to pedal the feet out right and left. Rotate your head side to side. Stretch your jaw, flutter your lips. Embody this physical body, this physical vessel. With breath and with prana, with life force. From here, inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, walk, jump, or float the feet beneath the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold over bent legs. Inhale, circle, sweep, arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Hands by your side, stand tall in mountain pose. Take a look at your posture in mountain pose. And this is how you'll carry yourself throughout your day, and every little bone position or alignment matters. Inhale, circle, sweep, arms up. Exhale, fold into the self, and do lunge. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step back, high plank. Keep your hips Hands high, shift your shoulders forward, lower knees, chest and chin, look forward, hold. Squeeze your elbows in. Pubic bone, low back, middle back, upper back. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. You can try another baby cobra or drag the hips forward towards your wrist. Up dog. Knees lifted, glutes on. Retract your scapula back, open your heart. Exhale, lift, hiking over the toes, down dog. 3 breaths in down dog. Inhale. And exhale. And exhale. Return, inhale. Exhale, unshrug the shoulders away from the ears. Circle your dog. Shift your shoulders forward, bend your arms, bend your knees. Take a few circles forward. See if you can shock absorb. Finding the torque in the posture. Last one. Return to regular down dog. From your down dog, inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk back or float with the knees. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, circle. Exhale, hands to birth. Hands by your side, mountain pose. Take your feet nice and wide. Come to a yogi squat. Take your arms forward. Have a seat. Peel one hand back. Take your right shin forward, your left shin back, coming into a shin box position. Start to press your left hip forward and back several times. Just priming the hips. Staying with your ujjayi breath. And then take your right hand straight back behind your right hip. Your left elbow to your rib. Corkscrew your back arm into the floor. Think about broadening across the chest. It's all about heart opening. So point your toes. Lift your hips as high as they go. Stretch your arm vertically. And then take your hand back, feeling that stretch along hip flexor and heart. Look towards the fingertips. Come back down. Take both elbows forward. Think of like a position of protection here. So a lot of the practices here at the Flowshala, as you guys probably know, I train here, they stem from martial arts, and they also stem from yoga. Lift the right hand back. Glide up, find your shin box, hip extension, tripod, vertical and overhead. Come back to that protective position. Notice the energy that's cultivated when you're aware, when you're here. Again, right hand back, inhale, lift up. Exhale, you can be aware. Option 2, take a peaceful mudra at the front of the heart, come to shin box extension. Slide the right hand back, anchor, open the heart, reach up. Find that moment of protection and then moment of peace. Squeezing everything in, tractioning the shoulder blades down the spine. 2 more, just like that. Right hand back, drill it, breathe. Notice what breath comes along with those mudras, those symbols. Last one here. Moment of awareness, looking, being alert. Sphere of tension and hands over. You can switch sides. Swivel your legs all the way around the block. Place your opposite left shin in front. You can start with just hip presses, forward and back. Forward and back. You can just isolate that second chakra, which is your hips. This is the origin for creativity, fluidity. You can take the left hand back behind your left hip. Right elbow in, glide up, find your heart opener, so vertical hand, and then stretch your arm back, looking towards the fingertips. Back to the center. And left hand back, reach up. Arch the spine, feel that stretch across hip flexor and heart. And have the hands here, and then eventually taking a sphere of tension or almost like a prayer position in front of the heart. It's like a big open mudra here. And find your hip hinge, lower down, left hand goes back. Think about mobility versus achieving something. So how can I mobilize my tissues in a way that's not normally explored? So I might kind of hang out in positions a little longer. You have the permission to go as fast or as slow as you need to. You can do reps. You can hang out in a pose. You can twist in a pose. Notice what happens when you apply the torque from different angles. Finish up that last one. Release the hands to the earth. Come back to your child's pose. Realign the spine. Paw. Let it go. And curl the the toes under, lift your hips up and back, find your downward facing dog. Press the shoulders up to the ears. Notice this is kind of like the stress response in down dog. And then unshrug, release the shoulders from the ears. We call this shoulder flossing. Try it out again, micro bend in these. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears and unshrug. One more time, shrug and unshrug. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk, jump, or float the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, circle sweep, arms up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Hands by your side, mountain pose. Join the feet at the front of your mat. We'll come into Utkatasana with a little bounce. So, scrape the fingertips along the floor, find your balance. Option to add those shoulder slides. Inhale. You can stay on the beat. And exhale. 2, 1, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Now reach up, hold. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back, high plank. Shift forward, chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, upward facing, retracting the scapula back. Opening the heart here. Hold. Listen carefully from your up dog. Lift your right leg, swivel onto your hip. If you missed that, we went from an up dog. Lift the right leg, swivel. Left arm is still on the ground. Right elbow is in towards the rib. Move your foot out a little bit. Reach up. High five. Drop back down. Travel back to your high plank. Try that again. Chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, up dog. From your up dog, lift your right leg. Swivel. Have a seat. Tripod reach. Work it back. Okay. Good. Back to your high plank. Inhale. Exhale, shift forward, chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, upward facing. Take your left hip. Lift, roll over the ankle, have a seat. You're safe here. From left elbow to rib, point. Find your grounding, find your footing. Lift the hips. Back. Drop down. Return to high plank. Shift forward, chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, up dog, hold. From your up dog, lift your left leg, pivot, anchor. Step towards the fingertips. Drop down. Return to high plank. Downward facing dog. Let it go. Take a couple rounds of breath in down dog. You can lower your forearms if you'd like, coming into a dolphin pose. If that's available to you, just torch through the forearms down, press and hold. Breathe. If you're in dolphin pose, think about pressing out of the shoulders. This is another opportunity for that heart opening. So it's almost like you had a big, thick band around your arms. You're tearing that band apart, which allows the force to travel up through the thoracic spine in that region where things might be a little bound. Notice what happens when you wag your tail side to side. You could be on your hands, regular down dog or dolphin, your choice. And if you're in dolphin, press back onto your hands. You can go one at a time. Lift one, lift the other. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees. Walk, jump, or float the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold deep this time. So hands come behind the toes on the outsides of the feet. And think about pressing your palms on the floor like this. So bend your knees a lot here. Belly on the thighs. Bury your face down into your shins. Back to your jaw. Inhale, halfway lift, come to fingertips. Exhale, hands to prayer. Hands by your side. Gomukhasana arms. So come to mountain pose. Let's explore our Gomukhasana. Big arms up. Keep your left arm underneath your right. Now see if they can touch like this. If that's not accessible for you, a modification would be to kind of give yourself a hug and pull your elbows away from your body. Depending on what your shoulder mobility is, pick a version that works for you. If you're in Gomukhasana arms, join the feet, pray, like mountain pose, hands in prayer. can stay here, pack your shoulders, zip everything up nice and tight, and then have a seat. Bounce a little bit, find the bottom of your bounce. So if your right arm is underneath, lift your right leg up and over. I'm going to do the opposite of you. You guys can do your right leg up and over, toss and twist, and work the ankle or the foot, moving over down towards the opposite ankle. And now start to create traction. So think of like a snake. So the snake energy is traveling up, up, up from the root out through the fingertips. Lengthen, lean back. Good. And then split down. Exhale, sweep your opposite arm underneath your body, underneath your opposite arm. Find your Gomukhasana arms. Like get used to this first. You can do some wiggles, maybe side to side. What you're stretching, what you're mobilizing. And sit down, find your chair. Yes, you like that little swivel there. Straight leg. Lift your top left leg up and over your body. So the higher the lift, the more space. Yes. And you can use that leverage to wrap your opposite foot around towards the ankle. And grow that snake energy up through the spine. Put down. Sound good, everyone? Good. I know you guys are still with me. So come down to Utkatasana in front of your mat. Welcome, Dawn. Utkatasana. Arms up. Shoulder side, top. Build some layers in this belly. So shoulder side. And exhale. Inhale, reach up and hold. Exhale, forward fold of your feet. Inhale, halfway. Step back, head plank. Shift your shoulders forward, lower your knees, chest and chin. Keep your bum high, keep space between your belly and the floor, look forward. Like a snake, swivel, pubic bone, low back, middle back, top. Cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward facing. On your exhale. From here, pack your shoulders, pick up your right foot, just like your practice, swivel, anchor, lift up, drop back down, return to high plank. Find your solid structure here. Shift your shoulders forward, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog again. Hold, knees are lifted here. Find your scapular retraction. Lift your left leg up and over. Point the toe. Step, tripod reach. Drop down. Return to your high plank. Exhale, shift your shoulders forward, chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath in down dog. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, take the right leg up, 3-legged dog. Start to wiggle the hip around. You can go bent leg, you can go straight leg. Whatever feels best to you to mobilize that hip joint. A backward circle, a forward circle. Whatever makes you feel like you can get high up there in a standing split. Reach up and hold. On your exhale, step through the 2 hands, spin the back foot down. Inhale, arms up, find your warrior 1 legs. Take sphere of tension in the heart. Find a little pulse here. Again, letting the yoga asana become a movement, or even like a little dance move, tap the foot. Now let's play with that Gomukhasana arms. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sweep your left arm underneath your right, cross and twist. Find that hand clasp. Take prayer position. We're making this into heart opening. Think about sinking into your front leg as you drive your hand up and back. You might find that sweet spot where you can kind of hang out, breathe into the back body. On your exhale, release the hands. Reach the arms up towards the heavens. On your exhale, slide your elbows back. Ha. For time. Inhale. Exhale, healing the layers from the heart energetic center. Inhale, reach up, stretch up. Flex your wrist, hinge forward with control and grace. Step back. upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Move intelligently, slither as you come back, really anchoring and rooting down through your fascia in your palms and in your feet. Take your left leg back, find your hip circles. They can be bent, be a straight leg, mobilizing that hip socket in all directions. All the way up and back. Bend the knee, straighten it a couple times. Reach up, stretch up, exhale, knee to nose. And anchor the back foot down. Inhale, find your sphere of tension, set your hips, find the low back. Sphere of tension in front of the heart. Keep the legs moving. The legs kind of move independently from the spine. Reach the arms up. Sweep your right arm underneath the left hip. Find those Gomukhasana arms. If you need to modify, just give yourself a hug like this. Yeah, give yourself a hug. Awesome. And then lift your elbows. Bend into your front leg and find that traction. Remember we talked about that snake energy. So awakening into the whole Kundalini practice. Awakening the Kundalini energy. It glides through the heart energetic centers and root down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, shoulder slide, hop. All about mudras. So those little subtle things that you do with your fingers, they mean something. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward. And the plank, step back, high plank. Chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. 3 rounds of breath in down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Feel free to flutter the lips a little bit if you like. Force breath. Inhale. Exhale. Little sound. And from your down dog, inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk, jump, or float the feet to the knee. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle. Arms back. Hands by your side, mountain pose. Come to the top of your mat, mountain pose. Take a sphere of tension in front of the heart. Traction your shoulder blades down and back. Take your right tiptoe back like this. It's about hinging forward, loading your base leg. Sphere of tension. Up your shoulders, lengthen through the crown. Option to take your hands to kind of like karate chop arms and extend back. Option to take airplane pose, lifting your back leg and eventually maybe straightening out your left one. Stay here with airplane arms or gather the arms in either sphere of tension in the heart, eventually over the head. Land in your warrior 1, inhale, and open out to warrior 2. Find your shoulder screw, up, over and down. Over and down, and then skip. And the shoulder screws in the beginning, implementing them into your open hips. Last one on each side. Explore the shoulders after you've warmed them up. Use them to lift your body. And come into your warrior 2. Find a little bounce. Keep the front knee bent. Keep the back leg nice and straight. Eye gaze is forward. Inhale, flip the front palm. Reach up and out of the waist. Inhale. On your exhale, take it slow, like you're going through warm honey. Pull the hands down to the earth. And then on the back ball of foot, step back. You can go high plank or 3-legged plank lower, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, curl the toes under. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing. 2 rounds of breath in down dog. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees. Walk, jump, or float the feet beneath the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, circle. Exhale, hands to prayer. Take your sphere of tension, that globe right in front of the heart. Take left leg back. Find your hip hinge. Loading the right leg, finding torque in the front leg. are extending back. You're in airplane pose here. Drag is on the ground. Eventually, maybe that left leg will lift up. You balance. Breathe. Notice that balance is not stagnant. Continuous micro adjustments. Optional to take the hands to your attention and maybe pressing out in front of you. Fixing your awareness, your gaze on the heat being built from the right leg. Bend the right leg. Return to warrior one. Inhale. Exhale. Open out warrior two. Shoulder screw. Forward. Right shoulder. Left shoulder. See if you can get that wave to travel through your entire wingspan. So as I transition from one shoulder screw to the other, there's this continuous force or energy being created from that spiral. Right? Back to center. Hold. Flip the front palm. Reach up and out of the waist. Feel free to make a wisdom mudra if you like. Inhale. On your exhale, heel down slowly. Starting for a brief moment, becoming aware. Place the palms to the earth. Step back. Option for a three-legged plank lower or full plank lower. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. 2 rounds of breath in down dog. Inhale. And exhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk, jump, or float the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs, let it go. Inhale, as the circle sweep, take a little back bend here. So explore that range. Look back. Press your palms together. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inside mountain pose. Keep the chin level with the horizon. Stack your bones. Wide-legged horse stance. You can face me if you like, or face the edges of your mat. Then take your hands to the upper thighs to feel that fascia back. So find a nice horse stance. And notice you can move side to side once you're in that horse stance, right? So try to get your bum nice and low. We've got our karate chop arms. You can be masters here. Okay, so hands. Do this shape. Infinity, just like the spiral. Do this with your hands, make an infinity with your hands, and let that travel through your hips as well. So, just kind of staying the hands in front of the heart. Your legs are straightening. And then you switch directions. You can leave, leading with the fingertips. Notice the difference going forwards. Out of it. One, going in the opposite direction. And then come to center, sphere function here. Open the feet out, arms out. Facing up. Deep inhale. On your exhale, sink a little lower. Ha. Inhale. Exhale, ha. Take your right elbow down to your thigh. Reach here with the bent arm. Reach the opposite arm out. Get a little more access to heart opening. Reach up and over. And do a little shoulder slide here. Kind of switch sides. So now that you're nice and warmed up, this is the best time to do that hip opening. Use your forearm as a lever to pry that fascia into the deeper stretch. So use the load of your body to put the thighs in places. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, draw the energy into the heart. Press any stagnant energy away from heart. One more time, we'll go a little deeper this time. Horse stance. Take your right elbow to your thigh. This time, pivot that foot open and pivot your back toes in. So now you're in extended side angle. In here, no longer in horse stance. Reach the right arm open. Exhale, peel back. So do something with this bottom arm that's productive, right? So finding your shoulder pack. Good. Inhale. Hand is nice and open. Exhale, slide. Yes, there we go. One. And exhale. Option to take the hand to the floor. Option to come into the full expression of the classical asana if you'd like. Option for a bind or half bind. Feels good to you. If you have a bind in your practice, if not, don't worry about it. If you're bound, slowly come on up. Join the hands in prayer. Your intention. Pivot your opposite toes open and out. Place your forearm to your thigh, carving that fascia back. Feel that stretch and that connection of tissue all the way from hip flexor to exhale, slide. Exhale. More, think about opening the heart, doing something productive with this bottom arm. The more you can internally rotate this arm, the more force goes into that frontline fascia. Center. Parallel your feet. Join your hands in prayer here. Feet are parallel. Small knee bend. Jump the feet together. It's a classical entry of Iyengar. Let's just see if we can get there again. The reverse way. Hands to prayer. Small knee bend. Jump out. Final power asana, Trikonasana. Pivot your front toes out, so mirror me, same toes. Reach, elongate, come down, find your triangle pose. Think about the heart opening in the triangle pose, stacking the shoulders, rooting down through the feet. Try not to lock out your front leg, bring slight little micro bend to it. And here, option to stretch your arm overhead, up to you. Reach. Here, find that twist, pull your body back to the top, pivot your front toes in, pivot your opposite toes out, square the hips, reach, elongate, come down, find your Trikonasana, triangle point, eye gazes up, maybe taking a wisdom mudra. It's our peak pose of practice today. Everything we've done is warmed you up to get here. And the full rotation, the full spiral in your spine. Parallel the feet, wide-legged straddle. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, swan dive down. You can have hands to the floor or taking the hands to the outsides of the feet. Find the heart opening in this asana. So pulling your forehead down towards the floor, lengthening through the hamstrings, putting dynamic tension in your posture. If you have a headstand in your practice, this would be a great time to implement that. If you like, totally up to you. Headstanders, make sure you come in and out of it from the straddle. And then even if you're not in the headstand, notice the inversion where the blood flow gets to go towards the head, towards the cranium. Opposite gravity for a moment, energizing. Headstanders, go ahead and make your way back down to a wide-legged straddle. You can take your arms out to a T or take your hands to your hips, drawing the elbows back. All the way up to the top. Take the hands to prayer, like this. Palms facing down. Knee bend. Let's make our way to the floor for our final cool down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, fold, step back, high plank. Chaturanga low plank. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, take the right knee behind the right wrist. Set up for pigeon here. Let's explore more of an upright pigeon today. So take the hands to the floor on finger pads. Lift and broaden your breast. And stay here, just incorporating a hip flexor stretch on your long left leg. You can practice knee bending your back leg, maybe a couple times. You take the right hand and anchor it. Reach back with the left hand, grab the foot. Start to kick into the back hand or pull the foot towards the knee, closing the gap in the shin and the back of the thigh. Option to hook the elbow. If you have that in your practice, you can hook the elbow to the foot, reach the hand up, find king pigeon. If that's available to you, if not, just stay here. And slowly version of that king pigeon you had. And then sweep your left leg all the way around the block, setting up for your seated spinal twist. Option to extend your bottom leg. Once you're here, hook the elbow on the outside of the thigh. Find a twist. First, engaging the piriformis stretch. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. Secondly, you can make it about thoracic spine. Reaching the right hand up, using the elbow to carve hip space here. And once you're here, draw the navel to spine. Really scanning from the side so that you're massaging the internal organs. And then start to trace your eye gaze over your left shoulder more. All the way. Looking back. Great. Final twist. And then slowly unwind. Find the counter twist and up. Bring the feet together. Find your boat pose or modified boat. 2 peace fingers under the knees. Traction the shoulders down and back. Level 1. Alternate sides. Level 2, you can lift both feet. Extend the arms. So that the wrists are at the same height as the shoulders. Pack your shoulders. Level 3, straighten the legs. Spread your toes. Level 4, yogi toe lock. Woo! Point the toes. I'm definitely not doing that one. But go for it if you want to. Hug the knees, release. No ego here. Left knee down, swim the right leg back. Alright, so find your upright stance. Make this about heart opening. How does the hip flex on the right side correlate to the open heart? So anchor, again, bend the back leg, grab your foot. Bring your leg up. Good spinal twist. Hook the elbow. Start to notice and acknowledge any energetic shifts you have throughout the able to connect with your body. Option to reach the elbow up. You use that as a lever. You're able to connect with your body in a new way. Maybe wake up some joints or some areas or some skills that maybe you've already had. Okay, find that boat pose. You can take another pass. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Hug the knees, release. Lower your body down to the earth to a couple chest openers from here. So bend your knees, feet flat on the floor, about hip like your tripod distance. Reach your hips up, and then take your right hand and left hand underneath your body. You can walk your shoulders in a little bit. Notice my hands are on the inside of my ankles, so the backs of the hands will touch the inside of the ankles. And you're creating a little bind with your limbs. Other variations would be interlacing your hands, if that more intense. The shoulder. Wherever you're at, release and come down. Windshield wiper your hips right and left. You can take another pass at that version of a bridge. Right? Or you can come into a full wheel. For those of us wanting to go into wheel, I'll coach you there. If you want to stick with the first variation, that's totally fine too. So, start by lifting your hips, scoot your shoulders in one at a time. You're going for the full wheel. Reach your hands back, establish that you have wrist mobility, no pain to get there. And then start to press into your full palms. The entire palm must be pressed onto the floor first. Then lift to the crown of your head. Then start to straighten your arms. Towards your thumbs, press your heart towards the front of your mat. Whichever edge of your back of head. Roll the spine down one vertebra at a time. Take a moment to just be in that space of what it feels like to open the chest. Windshield wipe over your legs right and left a couple times. And bring both knees in towards the chest. Hug them in tight. And from here, release your left leg all the way down to the floor. Take your hands and cross all 5 fingers just right underneath the kneecap. You can roll out the ankle here and start to pull your right knee all the way down towards your right armpit. It's really nice for just creating a tourniquet effect here, allowing your lower chest line. Get a little blood flow circulation going here. Massaging the intestines. Squeeze in tight, lift a little higher if you can. Create a little bit of resistance, knee pushing against arm, arm pressing against hand. And then slowly release the right leg down and immediately bring the left leg up. Interlace the fingers the funky way, so not the same exact way, but slightly opposite. And then pull your left knee towards your left armpit. Notice any hiccups or hinges and don't try to force it. Find the path of least resistance. So take it around the block. Pull and lengthen, creating traction instead of smashing the femur bones into the pelvic girdle. Try to find that length that it wants to go. Then work the opposing leg. So how can you point your other toe and stretch your diamond apart? Taking the knee like the corner of a diamond, reaching it away from the opposite toe. One more little pull here. Slowly release. And then bring both legs up. And then cross, let's cross our left leg over the right. So you can do here a partial. And see if you can grab your shins. Think of this as like a double pigeon. You can grab your feet. Feel free to lift up, grab your feet like this. If that's too much, don't worry. Just pull both shins into the like this. Deep external rotation in both hips. You can play with what would happen if I rolled to one side, my right side, tap the toe to the floor, feel that piriformis stretch. Good, and then other side. Uncross the legs and switch legs. Right leg on top. Notice the difference here. Grab the ankles, grab the shins, whatever works for you. Over to one side, over to the other. Notice how that's massaging the low back, the sacral plate, so good for you. Also, if you're on a soft surface, if you're on a hard surface, maybe put a little blanket under there later on. And then release and take happy baby pose. So peace fingers between big and second toe as we make our way into Savasana. So final pose, if you have any other poses you haven't explored and you absolutely want to do them, feel free. This is your practice. Otherwise, start to lightly allow your feet to find the floor. Let your hands rest alongside your body and give yourself a little self-assist. So you can kind of scoop one shoulder under, scoop the other under, let your feet wiggle out, inside, outside, and let them fall to the outside. Inhale through the nose, allowing the belly to rise. Exhale through the nose, allowing the belly to fall. Inhale. Allow your body to be completely and totally still. Just noticing your anchor points. Where does the force tend to want to go based on your structure? Observe those little anchor points as if you were to take your body away and you'd be left with this little imprint, like a little sweaty imprint, or if your body was covered in paint, where would your touch points be? What would the art of your physical vessel be today? Breathe in. To your breath again. Start to work with your fingers and your toes. Gently awaken the physical body. Roll to your right side position. Just come up to a meditative seat. Cross-legged with eyes closed to retain the quality of resting on the knees. Back against the spine. General body scan. Where in your body you're starting to feel more power, more prana, more life force. Started. Gently place one hand on that area. Into that space wherever your hand is touching. From the heart, take a moment of gratitude for showing up and practicing this evening together. Namaste. Thank you, Samadhi Flow, for your beautiful playlist and chirpy birds. It's awesome. So before we go to close our circle, if we were here and doing a live event, we would try to do like a one-word express the of the practice for you. Everyone has a different internal experience. So I invite you guys, if you want to share your one-word check-in, and then we can just sign out right after that and have a beautiful evening. Cool. So go ahead and just unmute your mics real quick, and I'll take it one. So we could just do, I'll just kind of call on friends. Let's see, who do we have? Whose screen is unmuted? Elise, what was your one-word check-in for practice?
Like tension releasing.
Awesome, cool. All right, Aaron, one-word check-in.
Peaceful.
Awesome. Charlie.
Solitude.
Beautiful. Caitlin.
Inspired.
Awesome. Kelsey.
Calm.
Sweet. Hillary.
Feel energized.
Awesome. How about Jessica and then Leah? And then if you guys are not still with your screens, we could go Hannah and Susan. I don't know if they don't have pictures, so they might be gone. Hi, Hannah.
Hi. Grateful.
Cool. And Dawn, great to see you. What was your one word?
What to say?
Grateful.
Oh, I love seeing you guys practice together. It was super awesome.
Yeah.
And Susan.
I was going to say rest.
Rest. Awesome. Beautiful. Well, thank you guys all so much for being here. That was super nice to just chill and take it easy. No training, just flowing. Thank you guys for sharing that beautiful practice. And I hope that as you're protesting or being with your families or being with your loved ones or taking action, that you remember this small collective effort that's going to continue to have a ripple effect in our community as we start educating our staff and community and creating more dialogue around these issues. Thanks, guys. Namaste.
Where can we donate summer for?
So you can either donate directly to Black Lives Matter, or if you donate to Flow Shala, I'm going to match all of the donations that happen. So just, it's on Venmo, just Venmo at Flowshala and say that it's for the BLM fundraiser. And anyone else wanting to donate, that's a really quick and easy way to get your funds there. And then we'll, like I said, match it and send a donation to BLM.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Great to see you, Dawn. Miss you. Come back soon.